All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a fantastic lecture from Stanford's Andrew Ng, and we're tackling a question that, let's be honest, is on everyone's mind. With AI getting scary good, people are starting to wonder.
So is it? Really? I mean, if AI can just write the code for us, what's the point of spending all those late nights learning Python or C++? This is a huge debate, right? It's causing some real anxiety for students and pros alike. But according to one of the world's top AI experts, the answer is a big, resounding no.
Okay, let's unpack this. Andrew N just cuts right through all the noise with this statement. He says the idea that you should stop learning to code because of AI is not just wrong, he calls it terrible advice. But to really get why he's so sure about this, we kind of have to back up a little and look at what makes today's AI so darn powerful in the first place.
So why are we even having this conversation? Well, it's because the last decade has just been an absolute explosion of AI capability, specifically in a field called deep learning. Let's dig into what makes it such a game changer. Think about it like this. The old school AI algorithms, they were kind of like a glass with a fixed size. You could pour data into them, but once that glass was full, their performance just hit a wall. It plateaued. That's it. They just couldn't get any smarter. But deep learning, that's a whole different beast. It's built to scale. The more data and the more computing power you throw at it, the better it gets.
And this is where Ning's analogy is just perfect. He calls it a magic sponge. See, old AI was like a regular kitchen sponge. It gets soaked and that's that. But deep learning? That's the magic sponge that actually grows bigger and bigger the more water or data you pour on it. This is why companies are pouring billions into data centers. They know that more data equals better performance. It's predictable. Okay, so you hear all these buzzwords flying around. Machine learning, Gen AI, deep learning. How does this all fit together? It can get confusing, right? Well, Engray breaks it down into this really simple, elegant hierarchy that he calls the AI skill stack. Okay, so here's how the whole thing stacks up. Way down at the bottom, your absolute foundation, your bedrock, is computer science fundamentals. You can't build without it. Sitting on top of that is the wider field of machine learning. And inside of that, you've got the really powerful engine, deep learning. And then right at the very top, you have the hot new layer, generative AI, the stuff behind ChatGPT. And here's the kicker. Every single layer completely depends on the one underneath it. So you might be thinking, great, I'll just skip to the good part and learn prompting. Well, not so fast, especially if you want a real career in this. Nang drops a major reality check here. Just using these giant models like ChatGPT for everything is crazy expensive for companies. The real value, the smart play, is building smaller, cheaper, specialized models for specific jobs. And guess what you need for that? Yep, a solid foundation in deep learning. All right, so this all leads up to the big finale. Ng's, let's call it, hot take on what coding really means now in the age of AI. You know, Noom makes this awesome comparison. He says, think about when we moved from those super clunky punch cards to keyboards. Did programmers go extinct? Heck no. The whole field exploded because it suddenly got way easier and more accessible. Well, AI assistants are the new keyboards. They make you faster and more efficient, which means we should be coding more, not less. And to really hammer this point home, he uses this brilliant analogy. Let's say you're a total beginner. You hop on an AI image generator and type in something simple, like make a pretty robot. And what do you get back? Something fine. You know, it's generic, it's kind of boring. But what happens when an expert gets their hands on that exact same tool? But now, imagine an expert steps in, someone who actually knows their stuff, like an art historian. They don't just say pretty robot. No way. They get specific. They ask for a saturated neon palette in a cyberpunk realism genre with volumetric lighting. And the result? It's a masterpiece. See? The tool is exactly the same. The difference maker is that deep foundational knowledge. And for us, in this field, that's computer science. I love this final analogy he uses. It just puts everything in perspective. Handing someone a superpowered tool doesn't magically give them expertise. You still have to know the fundamentals of how to build the house. The AI is your superpowered drill, but you have to be the architect. Okay, so let's bring this all home. What does this actually mean for you, for your career, for the job market right now? Because this is where it stops being theory and gets really, really practical. And this slide, wow, it really lays out the stark reality of the job market today.
Look, companies are practically begging for engineers who have skills in both deep learning and generative AI. But on the flip side, Ninjas are seeing old school engineers, the ones who won't touch these new tools, they're getting left behind. But here's the amazing part. The massive opportunity is for people in other fields, biology, finance, art, you name it, who can learn these software skills and become innovators in their own industries. So in the end, Nog doesn't just see this as a technical skill. He calls it a genuine superpower. It's literally the key that lets you innovate and solve huge problems in any field you're passionate about. It's about taking what you love and just amplifying your impact with these incredible new tools. Because look, at the end of the day, this isn't just about making another cool chatbot. It's about going after the big stuff, tackling climate change, fighting disease, transforming education. The tools are here. They're insanely powerful. So the only real question left is, what problem are you going to solve?